poppin', my nerd babies? It's me, MT, and the missing Guardians of the Galaxy Easter egg is the Power Stone and the Dark Star Orb that it sleeps in. Like I've said before in previous Easter egg videos on the Mastertainment YouTube channel, subscribe right now, the orb is purposely modeled after two things, a dark star as well as the two hemispheres of a human brain. The creative genius that is James Gunn used 3 celestial coordinates to point at a literal dark star orb. Like, that orb is the celestial object, to both hint at the Star-Lord's celestial roots as well as the origin of Meredith Quill's brain tumor of light given to her by her mysterious beloved blue and red angel, Ego. The orb is the very celestial object that all 3 mysterious coordinates point to when you translate them, because that orb is supposed to mirror both Ego's dark star planetary body and Meredith Quill's infected brain. Okay, let's start with Ego's dark star planetary body. Ego is not exactly a planet. His planet was merely him absorbing nearby molecules into a dark shell around his true brainy form. Ego is a dark star because Ego himself is a giant glowing blue dark star brain that sits at the core of his dark star planet. Ego's brain is the very core that powers his walkable dark planetary star. The black and silver orb from Guardians 1 represents the outer layers of Ego's dark star planet, while the Power Stone at the center is Ego's brain shining dark starlight at the core of his dark star planet. This is why the dark star orb is Mom's cancer. And it is a bright light nowhere to be found inside of nowhere. You know, after the Collector scooped out all of that ancient Celestial's brains, after that Celestial got his head chopped off a long time ago. That's why you never cheat at Uno. Now, let's talk about Meredith Quill's brain infected with light, or LX in the coordinates when we get to the giant hollow Celestial head of nowhere, where that Celestial brain is nowhere to be found after the Collector mined all of that brain tissue. LX means lux, which is a unit of light. Right before Meredith dies, she describes Ego as an angel composed out of pure light. The nowhere coordinates Meredith Quill LX point to Meredith Quill's mysterious glowing celestial semen donor that all of her family members didn't believe actually existed. He was nowhere to them.
She had brain cancer, so everyone thought she was delusional.
Meredith Quill's beloved brain light boyfriend was nowhere to be seen because Ego, the missing brainy dad, hid his celestial light inside of Meredith Quill's nowhere, her brain. This is where my nowhere is. It's filled with Marvel and DC comics and soft pretzels, because the brain is the place where we know things. This is why, on top of being modeled after a dark star, the orb is also modeled after 2 hemispheres of a brain. 2 hemispheres, when separated, reveal a powerful unit of celestial light embedded in the middle of that metallic brain. Like Meredith Quill's celestial tumor of light, Ego put inside of her brain. Like, this is crazy impressive foreshadowing here. This is how I believe that Ego knew that Peter Quill loved David Hasselhoff before he even met him, and why Meredith Quill simply could not stop loving Ego, even though that dude ditched her for 8 freaking years and never helped her raise Peter. This is because Ego never truly left Meredith. Ego, the living dark star brain, used his brain tumor to read Meredith's brain to get that sweet top secret David Hasselhoff intel on his son for future manipulations, while also brainwashing her into being madly in love with her forever, even though he'll never come back and see her again. Like, remember when Mantis told us that Ego likes to dream of his progeny, aka his children, as he sleeps? And then later when Mantis tells us that Ego has a way with winning people to his side? This is just Ego's celestial brainwaves overriding the brainwaves of first Meredith Quill and then later his son when he taps Star-Lord's forehead to make Peter see what he sees. Like, Ego is literally brainwashing these people, to the point where Peter literally shrugged off his dad telling him that he killed a bunch of kids in order to take over the freaking universe. I mean, that is until Peter's love for Meredith gave him the power to override Ego's mind control. And that's a really important point here, because as we learn from Yondu at the end of Guardians 2, love is the very thing that Ego needs to fuel and control his celestial light and makes him more powerful. And it's why it took Peter 2 seconds to control the dark star light at the center of Ego's planet, whereas it took Ego millions of years to figure that shit out. Because much like all of Ego's lovers, Ego was only using Meredith for the love that she gave him. It's a metaphor for a toxic relationship. So before Ego left Earth forever after he visited her multiple times, this moon-sized planet gave Meredith a tiny dark star tumor inside of her head to feed her hallucinations of false love and hope directly into her brain to keep Meredith loving him forever. This is why the song Moon Age Daydream plays while the Guardians arrive at nowhere. However, Meredith's hallucinations were not real, and this, my friends, brings us to the Kiln coordinates. The Kiln prison is called the Kiln because it is a prison baking under the light of a nearby blue dark energy star. And just like pottery bakes inside of a hot kiln in real life. When Peter grabs the Power Stone with his hand, he and his mother are baking in front of a star in a Power Stone induced hallucination that isn't real. Just like the Kiln prison. First, the Power Stone forms a purple, smoky, dark star kiln around the Guardians and Ronan, sort of mirroring the outside of the orb itself. Then the energies of that stone travel through Star-Lord's body and into his brain, causing Peter to hallucinate all of that interesting celestial light information inside of the Power Stone that the Collector had to use a freaking machine to access halfway through the movie. There is information inside of those stones. The Power Stone has the same ability to store memories, kind of like those purple scroll USB drives that stored people's memories inside in Captain Marvel. Star-Lord's act of grabbing the Power Stone and hallucinating his mom in front of a star is the Kiln. Peter and his mom were being baked by the rays of a nearby imaginary star, while at the same time, Peter and the Guardians were also being baked by the Power Stone in real life inside of a mini star bubble that Star-Lord was making with the Power Stone's purple energies. Peter was hallucinating the continuation of the Collector's presentation, with the planet that Essen the Searcher destroyed right behind him and his mom in front of him. Whether or not Ego actually came from that planet, we don't know, but maybe he did. We are inside Peter's mind during this sequence, and we are seeing the same type of loving hallucinations that Meredith was also being fed by Ego through her brain tumor. The kiln that is the Power Stone made Star-Lord see things that were not real, just like when Ego touched Peter and Meredith's brains. And that is the power of the Power Stone, baby. James Gunn, you're a goddamn genius. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you could tweet this video at James Gunn on Twitter or on Threads so he could see this, that would be amazing. And also, James Gunn, if you're watching this, thank you for your time and for your consideration, and hopefully this is right. I would love to finally end this hunt so that you never have to be asked another Easter egg question ever again. But before I do go, I do want to thank everybody for their support after I was just laid off from my old job. You guys have been super, super great and, you know, have really helped me during this really rough time. But yeah, you guys are amazing, and I would not be where I am without each and every one of you. So yeah, thanks so much. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'll be on the corner of Main and 2nd selling my body for money. I'm not joking. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe to the Mastertainment YouTube channel, and I'll see you guys some other time. Bye. Complete.